Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Rebirth Island. The map is finally returning. It's going to be releasing on April 3rd, and here is going to be the official trailer that was posted by Activision today. Now, the thing about this trailer is it's a very good hype trailer. The music was good, the gameplay was good, like the cinematics, everything about that was fantastic, but there were aspects of this trailer that had a lot of people concerned. A lot of people started to freak out a little bit because it looked like they were going to be changing Rebirth Island fundamentally, whether that's going to be through player events or player interactions or maybe just random Levolution events. It looked like Rebirth Island was going to be changed, like the prison collapsing, things like the lighthouse falling over and things like that. And people were concerned, right? Because don't fix what isn't broken, just make sure the map plays the way that it used to. It worked back in Black Ops 4 when it was Alcatraz, it worked in the original Warzone when it was Rebirth Island. Just don't mess with success, right? So Raven Software came out not too long after this trailer was posted, and a lot of feedback was coming in from the community, and they posted this. We see your questions about the Rebirth Day trailer. At the launch of Season 3, we're reintroducing Rebirth Island to Warzone. While a number of gameplay updates and visual polish have been made, this version of Rebirth Island stays true to the original experience our players know and love. Well, that's fantastic. Well, later in the season, however, players will have a rare chance to encounter infill strikes. These are a set of dynamic events that will alter one of three possible POIs at random at the very start of a match. While the majority of matches will remain unaffected, these strikes provide a rare yet unique spin to rotation and traversal opportunities. For more information on infill strikes, keep an eye out for the announcement blog and patch notes coming next week. Big thanks to our talented friends at Phoenix for their incredible work on this beloved experience. So, infill strikes. I have been talking about this idea for years and years and years now. Going back to like Call of Duty Ghost, I was talking about stuff like this and how it should happen within the Call of Duty franchise. Albeit, my ideas were more for multiplayer, and it was mostly just to add some variety to the map. You know, take an example, back in Call of Duty 4, there was all sorts of different versions of Crash that have been released over the years, whether it was from COD Online or Call of Duty remasters or things like that. But how cool would it be if every time you load in on Crash, you had a chance for it to be daytime, you had a chance for it to be nighttime, you had a chance for it to be snowy, you had a chance for it to be rainy, like basically dynamic weather and updates to the maps to make it so whenever you're just playing COD, especially over the course of weeks and months and potentially years, you have a bit more of a varied experience while you're doing that. That was kind of my idea all the way back in 2012, 2013, whenever the hell it was. It was a long time ago, right? I always thought that would be a cool idea. They started to implement some of that by adding in map remixes, which we're seeing a number of those here with Modern Warfare 3 so far. And then, of course, going back to a game like Black Ops 4, where they added things like Firing Range Night, Seaside Sunset, Contraband Hurricane, all the other maps, right? They started to add that stuff slowly, but they never really did too much with it. Well, these infill drops actually sound incredible. It's not going to be right there at the very launch of Rebirth Island, but later on in the season, it's going to be pretty cool. You load into Rebirth Island, you're expecting your normal experience, but as soon as you drop in, you're like, oh no, the entire prison is now collapsed. That is going to completely change how you're going to play the map. And the fact that it's going to be rare makes it even more interesting, in my opinion. You guys know me, I'm not much of a Warzone player, but I do love the idea of this, and I hope that something similar ends up coming over to the multiplayer side of things, because that's just straight up interesting. Like, you load into Rebirth Island, you play 2 or 3 games, things are just normal. Your fourth game, you hop in, and for whatever reason, the lighthouse just completely collapses and changes up that entire part of the map. That's kind of cool to me. And again, the fact that it's rare, the fact that it's not going to happen every single game makes it even more interesting. Like, if every single match one of these 3 things happened, it wouldn't be nearly as cool. So the rare times that you run into one of these infill strikes is really going to make the game feel a lot more dynamic and a lot more interesting. And that is definitely something that, in my opinion, they should really explore with Call of Duty's multiplayer. Don't take it too far. Don't take it too crazy. We don't need like Battlefield style evolution in our COD multiplayer experiences, but just little things like changing up the time of day, changing up the weather, maybe having a couple of things where on occasion like a certain building might collapse or something like that. Like, there's a lot they could potentially do with a system like this, and the fact that they're exploring it right now for Warzone does mean that going forward, as we go to Black Ops Gulf War, the next version of Warzone and everything else, that going forward they may actually experiment with more ideas like this, and I personally think that's a pretty cool thing. If you guys remember back to Advanced Warfare, there were a couple of maps in that game where partway through the match, the map would change. I mean, one of them was actually made by Dr. Disrespect. Like, you're playing the multiplayer on one side of the map, and then that map gets completely filled with gas, and you have to escape the gas and run to the other side of the map, and then even the domination flags and everything like that end up switching up like halfway through the game. That stuff was really cool. So I'm hoping to see more stuff like that in the future. And as always, I'll keep you guys posted as we learn more and as more updates come out, because as we're getting closer to Season 3, we're going to be getting getting the roadmap. We're going to be getting a lot of leaks, lots of rumors, and all that stuff. And then, of course, April 3rd will be the official launch of Rebirth Island, so stay tuned for that. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all for this news update video here today. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your thoughts and feedback on the Rebirth Island trailer down there in the comments, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.